Some of our colleagues have difficulty finding the place, but please bear with us. I hope it will be starting soon.
Just a small announcement for also. Is Kima? Zoom, yes.
Բարեկես, ալո, ինձ թվում է միկրոֆոնից է, նորմալ է։
Իսկ հիմա? Dear participants, also as you know, we are having a meeting in hybrid format, and I just want to inform our participants that are with us online that we are having a slight difficulty because some of our colleagues have difficulty finding the place where we are holding this meeting, and please bear with us for a few more minutes, and I hope we can start shortly.
Recording stopped.
Okay, our colleague, Mr. Yonut Sibian, the co-chair of the EU-Armenia bilateral platform, is now with us, and I'm delighted to launch this meeting. Once again, apologies that we are starting a bit late. We had slight difficulties collecting our participants in this building and in this room, but we finally succeeded. And just from the start of the meeting, I want to ask if it is possible for us to record the meeting for the purposes of easy record making later. And if there are no objections, also from our participants that are following us online, I will ask Georgi, our technician, to switch on the recording. I think there are no objections. Thank you very much, and we will be recording the meeting. I'm delighted to welcome everyone. Mr. Leshinger, thank you that you agreed to join this meeting. Mr. Markarian, our colleagues, Miss Dorothy Luci-Suliga from EEAS, Mr. Jeroen Willems from DG NIR, and dear participants, colleagues from civil society, guests, journalists, and everyone in the room. Thank you very much for finding time today to attend this meeting and to be with us today. This is, as I said, the first inaugural joint meeting of the EU-Armenia bilateral civil society platform. The establishment of the platform is envisaged under Article 366 of the Comprehensive and Enhanced Partnership Agreement, and we had some difficulty establishing the platform in the first place, but luckily we managed to go through this process, and since the beginning of this year the platform is established, and we have the Armenian side, and I'm sure my European colleagues from ECOSOC and other prominent European civil society organizations managed also to have certain preparatory meetings in advance of this first joint meeting, and we discussed among us how we should proceed, how we should successfully discharge our functions, which are of monitoring the SEPA implementation also providing advice to the Armenian authorities on SEPA implementation, and to a certain degree raising public awareness of SEPA and the process of its implementation. And we have drafted our internal work plan. We have also selected some of the priority directions which we would like to focus on. And I would like to single out some of them. These are, of course, rule of law and judicial reform, protection of human rights and fundamental freedoms, women's rights, child rights, fight against corruption, economic cooperation, and included in this transport, cooperation in energy sector, environmental protection, climate, industry and business, with a focus on small and medium enterprises, trade, information society, statistics, mining industry, employment, social policy and equal opportunities, agriculture and development of rural communities, cooperation with civil society, and finally, education, training, and youth. And taking the opportunity, I would also like to congratulate my Armenian colleagues on the start of the academic year, which we mark today. And I know some of them also teach in universities, and for them it is not a holiday, but a day to mark, and also for those who have kids that go to school. And on this high note, I would like to invite my colleague, Mr. Yonut Sibian, from ECOSOC, the co-chair of this platform, for his opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Lucy. It's great that I'm delighted actually that we reached this moment, that we have the delegations on both sides here, and we are able to hold the first meeting. It was quite a long process. We started in 2019, we came back in 2020, then the COVID happened. So I'm really delighted that this is finally taking place. And I would like to thank you for the commitment and the involvement on this. I mean, you've done it very well. We are very proud the way you selected. And we are proud that the three parts came together, because we know it was not a normal dialogue, at least from the NGO civil society part, to work with you, trade unions, employer association. But I will tell you something. I'm from a country that went into the EU in 2007, and it was the same process for us. And when we had big fights with the government or the parliament, the three of us together, we were more powerful, and we succeeded. In issues like, I don't know, the Constitution's amendment on issue regarding the minimum salary. There were a lot of battles where we were more powerful as three groups together. So I hope this platform will be used for you in order to find some policy agenda under SEPA or other issues that are of concern for the country, in order to be part of the reform and to have a powerful voice. I would like to thank the delegation. I mean, I think you have brilliant people here in the delegation. They are supporting us and your side to get this moment, and to the ambassador here, that it's a very dear person to us. My experience with ESC is linked with this kind of setups. I'm focusing on Western Balkans, as you know, with the former countries of the Yugoslavian Federation. We are working with them, and we have this setup that is called Joint Consultative Committee with the countries that are already starting the negotiations, Serbia and Montenegro, and we are preparing now with North Macedonia and Albania, the Joint Consultative Committee. So we are, let's say, quite skilled in working on this, by myself, on this kind of fora. Of course, now, comparing with 2019 and 2020, we are working in totally different, let's say, scenario with what happened in Ukraine, and yeah, it's a big concern for us back in Brussels and the member states. But I think, you know, the way we work will make us to understand more the region and to adjust our involvement accordingly. Now, why it's important SIPA from our point of view? We're not here to teach you, to give you lessons. We are here to talk and to exchange opinions and to find, you know, the best solutions. But I think it's a big opportunity for you in terms of being part of the reforms that your government is focusing now. Of course, the strength of democracy, the rule of law, human rights, economic development, labor standards. So there are a lot of areas where I'm sure we'll learn from each other, and we'll live with more knowledge, more knowledgeable, and yeah, I know, happy that we are part of this process. Of course, monitoring is very important and will help you, you know, in order your voice to be heard, and it will be very interesting, the discussion on the final declaration. We always seek to have unanimity, so we don't want to reach a vote. We want to everyone to be happy with the text that we will emerge from the meetings. Of course, one time we'll meet here. We're looking forward next time to welcome you in Brussels. And I think this is also a good opportunity for you not to meet just us, European Economic and Social Committee, but also your counterparts in Brussels, like Business Europe, ETUC, or the umbrella NGOs that they work in Brussels. It looks far away, you know, Brussels and Yerevan, but I think we could diminish this distance by working on values and really helping each other. So on this note, I hope it will be an enlightening experience for both sides. And I'm really happy that we have today with us the president of the REC section, Mr. Dimitriadis. He was previously our president of the European Economic and Social Committee. He has a great experience in working on external relations and not only external relations. But this is a signal that for our house, you are very important, and that's why he decided to be here, to talk with you, and we have all his support on our future activities. So let's hope that you know, you will be happy with what will happen, and we will be happy that we could help you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ionut, for your very kind words and your important stresses. And with this, I would like to pass the floor to Mr. Dimitriadis, President of the External Relations Section of the European Economic and Social Committee.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. As easily you can understand, I am Greek. Not only I am Greek, I am from Thessaloniki, and not I'm only from Thessaloniki, I am very close to your community in my city, because we are living with the Armenians and the Jewish community more than 600 years together, peacefully, always peacefully and very close, except during the Nazi period when we lost more than 65,000 victims during the Holocaust in our city, and it was a big, and it is a big tragedy always for my city. You can understand that I am here, I decided to be here. It's not usual for the President of the External Relations to be in a country, because under my duties are more than 60 countries in the world. I have under my duties more than 37 subcommittees, but I decided to be here together because for us it's very important to be in Armenia today, to open the dialogue with the civil society. Very correctly said the two co-chairmen, we are not here to give lessons. We are here to understand each other, to transfer to you our messages as European Economic and Social Committee. I had the privilege and the honor to be in this committee 25 years. I was president of the committee in 2006-2008, and I passed from a lot of other important posts in the committee. The committee is a soft power. We are there to talk each other. Employers, employees, civil society organizations. We don't give lessons to clarify it. We are not here to give orders because European Union is a soft power. We are discussing. Democracy is the DNA in our committee. A lot of time with my very good friend Ionut, we disagree, but always, and with all my colleagues, Veselin and Pietro, we disagree, but at the end of the day, we have the European obligation to find a consensus. This is the meaning of our cooperation in Brussels. This committee exists 65 years. Employers, employees, trade unions, NGOs, we are working together. A lot of time we disagree, but at the end of the day, we have the obligation to sit together and to talk. To talk, to talk, to talk. This is democracy. And this is the only meaning, this is the only message from my side today. We are not here to open this important file, says very correctly the two co-chairmen passed climate change, rules of law, and a lot of important economic developments. Today we are here to talk each other, to know each other, to understand each other. The next meeting will take place in Brussels, beginning of next year. We will be very happy to welcome you in our premises. You will see closer the European Economic and Social Committee. I'm totally sure that my friend Ionut and I, we will have the time to spend with you, to talk with you, and to see the other institutions, not only the European Economic and Social Committee. With these steps, we are starting a dialogue with Armenia. And this is not our first dialogue, because we have civil society platform in Moldova, we have a civil society platform in Ukraine, and we wanted very much to open this, and in Georgia, and Armenia is the last, but for us very important part, a co-partner in this dialogue. And with this, I would like to close it. I don't want to spend more time. I will be at your disposal at any moment, not only today. The REC section, the External Relations section of the committee will be always at your disposal for any step. The most important is to understand each other. This is the most important. As Greek, I feel very comfortable here. In Yerevan, I feel like at home. It's not easy for us, for the Europeans, and I speak from the heart, to understand each other, because if you are a Finnish or a Swedish, to understand the Greek is not easy. With Armenians, I'm very close, of course, because I am part of this part of the world. But it's not easy, but we try to have an open dialogue. This is the message for today, to have an open dialogue between you and us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Dimitriadis, for these very warm, welcoming remarks. We are delighted that you are with us today, and we really look forward to our further cooperation. And it's not even necessary to say how Armenians like Greeks in all aspects of the world. And with this, since the topic of our first part of our today's meeting is the state of play in the implementation of the EU-Armenia Comprehensive and Enhanced Partnership Agreement, it is with pleasure that I now pass the floor to Mr. Ara Markaryan, head of the Europe Department of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Armenia, for his opening remarks and introductory notes on SEPA implementation.
Thank you, Lucine. Thanks for the kind invitation to the Foreign Ministry to attend this meeting. And dear colleagues and friends, both here in Yerevan and in Brussels, at the outset, I would like to congratulate all of us on the occasion of this inaugural joint session of the bilateral civil society platform established by the virtue of the provisions of the EU-Armenia Comprehensive and Enhanced Partnership Agreement. And for me in particular, this event is very symbolic, because I was one of those Armenian officials who was personally involved in negotiations of the SEPA, and now I see that this meeting is yet another proof that we are determined to implement fully this important bilateral document. It's been a year it's been more than a year that SEPA, the landmark document regulating our relations with the European Union, fully entered into force. And I'm pleased to know that since then, despite continuous challenges and geopolitical uncertainties, we have managed to take further profound steps towards the full implementation of the agreement. The joint session of this platform is yet another eloquent testimony of our commitment to ensure positive dynamics of our partnership dialogue on different levels, as well as the full operation of the agreement. I'm in no doubt that everybody here shares the understanding that civil society organizations have an important place and an essential role in the process of democratic and sustainable development of any country. Given that the EU is Armenia's primary partner in supporting the national reform agenda, promoting and strengthening of the democratic institutions and the rule of law, I'm certain that this bilateral platform would best contribute to the promotion of these mutual goals and shared values. On the sectoral policy level, major progress has been already recorded in conceptualizing justice reform, in the fight against corruption, and in police reform. Improvements in the legislative framework have been significant and are reflected in 5 sectoral strategies. In the 2019-2023 strategy for judicial and legal reforms, the 2019-2022 strategy for anti-corruption reforms, the 2020-2022 strategy for human rights protection, the 2019-2023 strategy for penitentiary and probation services, and the 2020-2022 strategy for police reforms. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that all these five strategies have been developed in close consultation with the public at large, namely the civil society. This represents a comprehensive and coherent approach to the policy development, which in its turn ensures harmonized and coordinated results and monitoring framework. This is just one of the many examples of close cooperation and essential engagement of our government and international partners with the Armenian civil society. Worthy also to mention that this year in particular we had multiple opportunities to exchange views on the latest developments and progress made so far during the Armenia-EU Parliamentary Partnership Committee meeting on February, Armenia-EU Partnership Committee meeting in April, and Armenia-EU Partnership Council in May, and a number of other high-level meetings. Dear colleagues, throughout decades, but even more importantly, during the last few years, we have been facing significant challenges and hardships. Civil society has proved itself as one of our crucial partners, offering alternative policies, working closely with state institutions on the protection of human rights, fight against corruption, and a number of other crucial issues. Finally, one of the objectives of this platform is the promotion of coherence and mutual support in the spheres of utmost importance for Armenia. I therefore wish our civil society partners success on the path that we are to travel together. Once again, my congratulations. Thank you.
Mr. Markarian, thank you very much for your welcoming remarks and for reiterating the commitment to cooperate closely with civil society. And with this I'm delighted to pass the floor to Mr. Jan Fleshinger, Deputy Head of EU Delegation to Armenia. It is said that our dear Ambassador Andrea Victorin, who was very adamant to have this platform established, is not with us today, but we're delighted that you are with us, and please, yours is the floor.
Thank you very much, Lucina. You basically stole my opening words because I wanted to greet you on behalf of Andrea Victorin, the head of delegation. For her, it's really a dear project, initiative, and she has been very active in this. But I wouldn't like to repeat what my predecessors have already mentioned, and I also wouldn't like to steal the words from the speakers from Dorota and Jeroen, who will address you from Brussels. So let me improvise a little bit. First of all, I would like to say that the creation of the EU-Armenia Civil Society platform is not something that is necessarily imposed by the EU. It is a good initiative per se, which is beneficial for the civil society in Armenia, but I think also for the government and the parliament and local administrations. I would like to underline what Jonut mentioned at the beginning. In Central and Eastern Europe, all those countries that entered EU in 3 waves, 2004, 7, and 13, it's been a difficult process to set up similar cooperation when people from trade unions, employers associations, and NGOs did not really understand at the beginning what is this cooperation good for. But indeed, in relation with its partners from the government and from the parliaments, it's good to get together and present your initiatives, your problems on the common platform. So I hope that this platform will not only be related to SEPA agreement, to us, to the EU, but it will be really beneficial for Armenians themselves. In the same time, I would like to reiterate and first of all welcome the colleagues from European Economic and Social Committee and illustrate on the fact that you are all here, the EU delegation is here, the colleagues from External Action Service are online, from the DG NIR, that we do consider it important, and we do consider the SEPA agreement to be really a commitment for all stakeholders, so not only for the government or not only for the EU delegation, but for all the players as a commitment for future cooperation and for the development of relations between the EU and Armenia. On personal note, I myself 20 years ago was putting together a civil society platform of the Czech NGOs dealing with development cooperation. It was just this niche, relatively small sector at the time, and still it was difficult to put everyone together. So I understand that it took time, that the consultations were necessary, that they were hampered by the COVID pandemics, then by the post-war situation, the political turmoil, and so on. So I wouldn't even say it took too long. It was a gestation process. It was necessary to talk to each other, to sit together, and we are very happy today that finally we are able to talk to each other, to sit together, and to present the Armenia EU-Armenia Civil Society platform. So we hope that SEPA will continue to serve as a roadmap for changes. But the empowered civil society is really a crucial component of any democratic system, and we hope that the Armenian democracy will of course develop further. And in addition, it will strengthen the civil society that, of course, there has been some polarization and divisions. So we hope that this will also help to bring the unity. We will continue as EU delegation to support you. It is a long-term commitment to support you by our knowledge, know-how, morally, also financially, which is also very important, of course. In this context, we really welcome the constitution of this platform, the SEPA monitoring platform, after transparent and fair elections, and we wish you all success in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Pleshinger, and for the stated commitment to stay with us further in this difficult process. And now it is my pleasure to give the floor to Ms. Dorota Luci-Zuliga, and I apologize if I slightly mispronounce your name, for your opening remarks. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. No, it was perfect pronunciation. It's a great honor to be today with you, although virtually. I would really prefer to be in Yerevan, but I'm happy to hear from Mr. Sidon that next meeting will take place in Brussels, and I hope to be able to meet you in person when you are in Brussels. Indeed, it's an extremely important meeting because it finalizes the whole setup of the SEPA agreement institutional framework that we have. It's the last step, but extremely important. As Jan said, process took quite a long time, but it was an important process as itself. The consultations that you had, the discussions that you had already had value added. SEPA agreement, as you know, is based on our common commitments to values, to rule of law, and so on, but it's also an important blueprint for reforms. And as Mr. Margarayan said, already quite a lot has been done, even though SEPA entered into full force only 1 year ago, as it was signed earlier, and both Armenian and the EU side in support have started implementation with vigor, and we did quite a lot. And I will not go, although I think quite similar list as Mr. Margarayan had of the achievements already done in terms of implementation of the agreement. A lot has been done, but still a lot is going to be, needs to be implemented. And civil society role is extremely important. And this is important in 3 ways. First of all, of course, you will monitor the implementation. You will look to some extent at our hands, at the hands of the Armenian government, at the hands of the European institutions, how we proceed with the implementation. But it's not only about monitoring, it's also about your recommendations, about your views, what we can do better, what needs to be done in addition, what changes we should introduce on our path. Civil society in Armenia is extremely vibrant. It plays already an extremely important role since Velvet Revolution, but even earlier. And we would like to, through this platform, we would like to tap to your potential, to your knowledge, to your understanding of the issues on the ground from the free groups that you have, that it's not always maybe available to us. We have also, Mr. Margarayan mentioned EU-Armenia Partnership Council in May. I think it was a very good meeting, a very successful meeting underlining our cooperation and underlining the path forward. We will have a number of meetings also this autumn to follow up on the implementation of the agreement. We will be also in contact with European Economic and Social Committee on our way forward. As Jan said, and it was already mentioned, and I'm very happy to hear from the Armenian side, our delegation is there to help you. Our delegation is always open to talk to the Armenian colleagues. We are open on the Brussels side to Economic and Social Committee, and we will continue to support you in this endeavor in future. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much for your opening remarks, and we know that EAS has been really keen on supporting this process. Still some of the institutional memory I can share of EAS and us and ECOSOC and DGNIR being in constant communication over the establishment of the platform, and I'm also happy that we are here, and we will be really looking forward to further cooperation with our European colleagues from civil society organizations from Europe and from EEAS. And now I would like to give the floor to Mr. Jeroen Willems from DG NEAR, European Commission.
Thank you very much, Lucine, and thanks a lot, and great to see all of you. It's a great honor to be here and have this first exchange with the EU-Armenia Civil Society platform. Many of you have already spoken about that it took a bit of time to come to this point, but I think I can try to just add to that actually I think we already had some kind of a first meeting in April. So we are, if you want, a few months earlier we had an informal meeting in Yerevan where we had Lithuanian from the EAS, we had Ambassador Victorin and myself, and then some of our friends from ECOSOC were joining online. And this time I see that we have reversed roles with colleagues from ECOSOC very much present in Yerevan, and DG NEAR and EAS joining virtually. And hopefully, as Dorota said, we can have one physical meeting, if COVID allows, soon also in Brussels. So I think that, yes, it took a bit of time, but still I think that having this SIPA platform is very much timely. Let's not forget that SIPA only entered into force in March 2021. I think that as we saw also both at the Partnership Committee in April and the Council meeting later this year in May, the government remains very much strongly committed to its ambitious reform agenda with SIPA and the commitments Armenia has taken under this bilateral agreement guiding its reform roadmap. And I think working together in earnest on the implementation of SIPA at this point in time allows us to further strengthen our joint work. Just let me briefly highlight two main strands of this joint work. On the one hand, the work on the investment pillar, the economy, connectivity, digitalization, green transformation are all clear priority areas where, as I hope most, if not all of you know, we're working very hard to bring together IFIs, private sector, government together to unleash the potential of the economic investment plan for the Eastern Partnership in Armenia, which, as you know, has the objective to support socio-economic recovery and long-term resilience and bring really tangible benefits to the people. This plan, which was only brought to the Eastern Partnership and particularly to the Southern Caucasus and Armenia by Commissioner Varey in July last year, is already starting to deliver. And I would say, I dare say, in Armenia, I think even more than in many other Eastern Partnership countries. We have already started implementing support to SMEs with a more dedicated SME facility coming up soon. We are expecting the delivery of green buses later this year in Yerevan, which I eventually hope to take on my next mission. With the Team Europe approach, we are working to support the resilience and socio-economic development in Syunik. And that's just a few areas. But we're also working hard together with the Ministry of Education on a budget support and accompanying policy dialogue together with IFI investment in informal learning centers in the southern region. Again, very much linked to the EIP. And we're partnering up with local authorities to develop energy efficient solutions in rural households in targeted regions of the country, including Syunik. That's on the investment pillar, but also on the governance side, and with SIPA very much the guiding tool, we're working hard to support and continue to support Armenia when it comes to the reforms in the rule of law, particularly an independent, efficient and accountable justice system, support to respect for human rights. These are critical to enhance conditions for sustainable investment and development, and this also continues to be prioritized in our bilateral assistance. We have been conducting a successful justice dialogue, and we are currently working on a new justice reform budget support, building on this success from the past. So that's the broad picture of our support in the area of both investment and governance. None of this would be possible without strong support of civil society, both in implementation as well as in monitoring. And I think with the establishment of the platform today, we have a new tool in hand where we can further reinforce and also structure the partnership that is already strong. And that it's strong, I think, was also very clear in the April Partnership Committee meeting in Yerevan, where, and I think this is quite unique actually within the Eastern Partnership, Representative Luzine of the Partnership Committee was already present throughout the committee meeting in April. So civil society has been a key partner to the EU and remains a key partner to the EU in the Eastern Partnership and in Armenia. The EU is the largest donor to civil society in Armenia, and our civil society support remains one of the cornerstones of our engagement, both in Armenia and in the region. Just to give you a bit of flavor of the broader Eastern Partnership framework, which then trickles down into what we do in Armenia, for the past 2 years, we've really witnessed the critical role that CSO can play during the COVID pandemic, as well as the conflicts that we unfortunately have seen in the Eastern Partnership, both in the Southern Caucasus and unfortunately also more recently and still unfortunately ongoing in Ukraine. What these crises did show from the very beginning is that CSOs were the first line of response and helped address the immediate needs of communities that were affected. And I would dare say that the investments that we made in the years before these different crises came to the fore helped us to be a little bit in a better place and to reap the benefits, if you want to call it like that, because of course we're dealing with crisis. So what does that strategic approach to civil society entail? We have been really making a concerted effort over the last few years to move out of only supporting the big civil society organizations in the urban centers and to try to reach those that are working more in the regions, in the rural areas, by trying to team up with what we call strategic framework partners that can re-grant to local organizations and engage with social partners. These are often organizations that do not necessarily speak English or have the capacity to fill in our very complex grant applications, but they are genuinely grassroots, community-based, and can make a difference in and to local societies. To give you an idea of the change and the transformation that we've tried to put in place, between 2017 and 2020, we almost four-folded our engagement with civil society organizations. In 2017, in the Eastern Partnership, we had around 300 civil society organizations that benefited directly or indirectly from EU support. By 2020, that number has been increased to 1,200, so 4 times more. And that is already an achievement in itself, but those of you that have gotten themselves acquainted with the Joint Staff Working Document that was endorsed at the Eastern Partnership Summit in December 2021, will have noticed that we try to double down on this number and aim to go to even 2,500 civil society organizations to be supported in the next few years. To do this, we are planning next year a new call for strategic partners, and we can combine this with support to delegations to help monitor all these different sub-grants, but also have put in place tools like a CSO meter to look at the enabling environment for civil society in the different Eastern Partnership countries. And we ensure that each delegation foresees sufficient funding to strengthen CSO capacity, but also to give more predictability and visibility to CSO support in the region. That's why already for a number of years we're working with the so-called Eastern Partnership Civil Society Facility, bringing together bilateral and regional funding to support civil society in the Eastern Partnership. Does that make a difference? I dare to say yes, including in Armenia. Only in 2021, the EU support to civil society organizations in Armenia amounted to 31 million euros, with 31 ongoing grants and 140 ongoing sub-grants. And Armenia, as I mentioned, benefits from this civil society where dedicated 6 million euro for 21 and 22 has been reserved to support civil society. I mean, to sum it up, we count very much on the civil society platform support to monitor and contribute to public debate, policy formulation, and scrutiny of the work of the government and its ambitious reform agenda. This support will be critical for the success of the reforms themselves and for really understanding the SEPA and how progress is really moving forward. From our side, you can count and continue to count on the EU to support civil society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Jeroen, for your comprehensive introduction and for stressing the important directions along which EU stands with Armenia and provides support. Also for reconfirming EU's commitment to be with civil society organizations and to continue support, and also support to this platform. And since we have the luxury of having representatives of our Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the EU delegation, EAS, and Engineer, I would like to open the floor for debate and to invite my colleagues from European civil society organizations and Armenian to speak up about what they are interested in, any comments, remarks, etc. Please, Mikhail. And please introduce yourselves, your name, your family name, the organization, and which sector you represent.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Mikhail Ovanesyan. I'm representing Eurasia Partnership Foundation. And we are mainly interested in issues related to democratization, protection of human rights, anti-corruption fight. And we have been constantly involved in various projects, including EU-funded ones, in those areas. And also we have been engaged in this Partnership Civil Society Forum ever since it has been established. And I'm also currently holding the position of the coordinator of the Working Group 1 of the forum. I would like to welcome everybody and congratulate on the first meeting of the platform. Indeed, it has been quite a long journey, but an interesting one. And I think the overall process of forming of the platform is to some extent illustrative in terms of demonstrating the processes going on inside Armenia, inside the Armenian society, civil society, and the society in general. And I think in that respect, it has been quite an interesting and healthy process, giving us a lot of food for thought. I would also like to emphasize that the SEPA agreement and the engagement of the civil society in it is important from the various points of view. Many has been mentioned here, but starting from the very fact of existence of SEPA, I think it is crucial for Armenia. But more importantly, obviously, the implementation of the agreement is crucial for the country, particularly today, and particularly for Armenia, in terms of its democratic transition. And here I would like to mention that the engagement of civil society, I would underline two components of the importance of the engagement of the civil society bilaterally in this process. First, I think that, again, today's Armenia is in need of engaging the society at its widest possible level in the implementation of reforms. And this is important from the point of view of participatory democracy. It is important from the point of view of gaining trust after various challenges our society has been through, and ensuring that the decisions made are decisions that take into account the interests of the wider spectrum of the society. Secondly, I think that this platform is important because it is a platform of communication between Armenian and European colleagues, which gives an additional value to this process and creates extremely important opportunities for exchange. From this point of view, I would like to share the experience of the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum because it really became something very important from the point of view of knowing each other and understanding each other. And it made us way closer than we were and way closer than we think we are. I think that this is very, very important from the point of view of understanding the opportunities for democratic transition and development in its deepest sense of the word. So here I would like to, my final emphasis would be on the necessity to exercise really working mechanisms of engaging civil society in planning, implementing and evaluating the reforms within the framework of SEPA. And I would like to ensure all parties engaged that the civil society, both in Armenia and obviously in the European Union, have important capacities and expertise that is needed for making the reforms within the SEPA effective and productive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mikhail. And I think Hovsep wanted to speak. Please, Hovsep.
Thank you. I would like also to congratulate participants, all of us. I'm Hovsep Khurshudjan, Civil Society Forum representative and also coordinator of Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum Armenian National Platform. And I would like to congratulate in name of Civil Society Forum and Armenian National Platform establishment of this platform, EU-Armenia Civil Society Platform in the framework of SEPA. This was a long way for us, and finally, and it is good to notice that we have this platform. I'm sure this will somehow supplement our efforts in the Eastern Partnership Civil Society Forum, but not replace it, and we are ready to cooperate with the platform and even make some synergy between our activities to make our efforts more efficient. And that is why I'm glad also to notice that the civil society platform unify a lot of our organizations, but also not only from Armenia, but also from EU side. And also this is good platform for collaboration with our government and EU officials also, and official bodies, and also Economic and Social Committee. So I think the SEPA somehow underestimated, potential of SEPA underestimated in our society because not many of people, including civil society activists, unfortunately know SEPA deeply and read SEPA from A to Z. So, but I think we are on the beginning of our way, and this first session will somehow start this awareness raising also, as you mentioned there, Lucine, because we have a lot of to do in our society, in grassroots, to make aware them about SEPA, but also about Eastern Partnership, about our civil society forum and Armenian National Platform as well, because we have a lot of projects in which we can collaborate also with platform, and we ready also to make some input into the development of the platform, EU-Armenia platform. So again, congratulations and go on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hovsep. And please, Mr. Garman again.
Thank you very much. I'm Mrs. Karamanukyan, representing employers. Union of Manufacturers and Businessmen of Armenia. Thank you very much that we are already having our first inaugural session, and thank you for all the presenters. I was pleased to hear, especially from representative of European Commission, that we will continue helping Armenia on rule of law, justice, and implementing reforms. On behalf of Union of Manufacturers, I may say that we really need real reforms in rule of law, especially maybe for economic entities to be protected not only by courts, but also to have alternative arbitration systems or alternative dispute resolution systems implemented in Armenia as well. Arbitration courts to be established, etc. Also, this is very important to really bring in new, fresh investments, foreign direct investments, especially from Western countries. If you look at our numbers of foreign direct investments, which are diminishing or going down recent 3-4 years, and especially there are almost zero investments from Europe or Western countries. Most of the foreign direct investments are coming from north or south, not from west. So maybe the platform and this SIPA will help the Armenian economy to grow, also attracting new investments by imposing rule of law all and everywhere, not only in rule of law for civil society or rule of law for individuals, but also for businesses. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Karamanyan. Please, Mr. Manaserian.
Thank you. First, I want to thank you for this wonderful opportunity, and I want to emphasize two main topics that are essential to me as an economist and also the head of the working group 2 of Armenian National Platform, which is economic cooperation, trade and cooperation. First is security, and the second one, competitiveness. These are the two areas where we definitely need not support, but real cooperation. I do believe in utilizing cooperative advantages. And I'm in favor of not one-side street, but give and pass and share. And I do believe that Armenia has something to share with the European Union in the framework of SEPA agreement, not only anticipate support, moral, professional, or financial, but in terms of competitiveness, we really need to improve the level of competitiveness at macro level and on micro level as well, as it was mentioned already. And finally, security. Not only the security, as we know, Armenia is in real need, military security, etc., but food security. The entire world today is facing hunger, as the Secretary General of the United Nations mentioned just a few weeks ago. And Armenia may be one of the countries to share with the experience with success stories in some fields. But also we are concerned about the energy security in Armenia, which need to be probably further discussed in details and see how we can use renewable sources of energy and others to be secure, financial security and others. And the public-private partnership is essential for us, but without the professional assistance or participation of the expert society, I believe that we need to construct a triangle. Then the government will benefit, the civil society will benefit, also the private business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Mr. Manaserian and Mr. Atovnian who wanted to.
Thank you, dear colleagues. I think establishment of this platform and this event are very important for Armenia, and I think generally relations between European Union and Armenia, signing and implementation of SEPA is very important because Armenia has a number of problems with establishment and development of democratic institutions, with rule of law, with good governance, integrity, fighting against corruption. And I'm representing Armenian Lawyers Association, which are implemented different number of projects, and some of the projects were funded by the European Union. But I am also acting advocate, and each day I am relating with judiciary, with law enforcement agencies, with different state institutions, regional institutions, and I say that our country has a huge number of problems with the effective activity of these institutions, and we have also a number of problems with the protection of rights of employees, with the implementation of labor legislation. And I think it's very, very important that the trade unions and representative of employers, one of the main parts of this model, of this construction. And I think that implementation of SEPA with active participation of, with active involvement of civil society institutions, in the manner of constructive dialogue and constructive cooperation between state institutions and civil society will give a much more better situation than which we have now. And also I will underline the role of monitoring, because without effective monitoring for the implementation of the process of SEPA, I think the process might be not so effective, and I would like to congratulate all of us regarding the beginning of this process, and I think each of us will do our best to have success. Thank you very much.
Mr. Atovnian, Anna and Mr. Margaret.
My name is Anna Barikian. I represent the Confederation of Trade Union of Armenia, and I congratulate to all of us and welcome. I would like to welcome you to our building. I think we need to improve the legislation of occupational safety and health. In Armenia, we haven't good legislation. I can tell that we don't have this legislation, so we need to improve and create new updated legislation of occupation safety and health. We need to give labor inspection the full rights based on convention, ILO convention, to take when they want, they can go and make some revise. Now, labor inspection, they have a right to go to check the workplace, but it's not enough. So we need to improve the legislation of labor inspection. And on behalf of Confederation, I would like also tell that we need to create some alternative court, like a labor court, which revise, which check labor issue. So I will take opportunity to ask EU delegation and government, our government representative, when the Partnership Council of SEPA will decide when the directives of OSH, the part of OSH, SEPA has a part, safety and health at workplace. So deadline of the direction of implementation, there is nothing written. So it's written that the Partnership Council will decide the deadline. So when we are going to decide the implementation, deadline of implementation. So thank you.
I would like to also invite Mr. Margarian to make his intervention, and then we will ask our colleagues in the panel to respond if they wish so.
Thank you. I am Gaig Makajan from employer side, representing Republican Union Employers of Armenia. I would like to mention importance of institutionalization of the country. During this independence period, still many state bodies are not institutional, and which is very important for the dialogue, for the partnership, and for the reforms. We are speaking many times about reforms, and many financial and technical or human resources we're spending for this. But anyway, still we are not institutional. So my wish is to be, as a platform, very strong, very professional, to introduce very effective consultation and monitoring to improve roadmap of institutionalization of our country to be more effective in the reforms. Because I am looking around, and I can say that anyway, Armenia being small country and having better flexibility resources or opportunities, anyway, we are not flexible, and we are far from many progressive ideas regarding human rights, laws, or dialogue, etc. First of all, could be good if we can have some influence regarding dialogue to the state bodies to understand the role, the necessity and importance of the understanding of the importance of the dialogue, and to use our capacities, because being social partners, official social partner with the government, we meeting always some problems, some challenges, misunderstanding, or sometimes I can say conflicts. And I want to mention that since 2009 we are in the process of social dialogue and social partnership, but we now maybe are not so effective still after 13 years. So here SEPA platform can play important role. It is the first. And second, we're speaking about the reform, but many times we see that reforms need some needs assessment and understanding of the needs, really to prepare and to have very targeted term of references regarding changes, reforms, or other programs in the country. And I see also a role of our platform to support government, representing them some assessments, some reports of understanding, also policy briefs, which can make some positive changes and to bring them to the dialogue, to the right decision-making processes. This is the all for this moment. Thank you for your coming, and congratulations for the creation of our platform, starting the first this inaugural meeting, which is very important. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mr. Margarian. I would also like to invite our colleagues from European civil society organizations. Maybe they want to make some remarks, statements. Yes, please.
I hear very well what the Armenian side said, and just to inform, because I didn't do at the beginning, I am in the private sector. I am businessman 40 years on the scratch, from the zero, and I understand very well what Mr. Karamanyan said about taxation. I felt 45 years ago in my country I think that the Armenian side tries to pass to us some important problems in the private sector, because taxation and tariffs, it's always a big problem in the countries of the region. Of course, Greece, my country, is belonging to the European Union now more than 35 years. We have the common taxation, common currency. We have solved this problem, but I think for the private sector it's important to talk with our representatives in Brussels, and because I have announced it, the next meeting will take place in Brussels, as I told you, and of course you can use Armenian when you will be in Brussels to be more comfortable for you. As language regime you can use Armenian.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dimitriadis, and if other colleagues from, please.
So I try to put the topics that you referred in the scheme. So I don't see topics that are not familiar from us, and from us saying referring to the work that we are doing in the other countries from the East or Western Balkans. But as way of work, we'll discuss more in the rule of procedure. But we could appoint a rapporteur from both sides. Let's say me and Lucine will look on the issue on justice reform, or I don't know, specific rights for people with disabilities, let's say. And we could appoint an expert from outside of our committee to help us in writing this report. Then we'll debate it with you, we'll do the changes, and this will be the main part, those reports, topics, the main part of the common declaration. So in this way, we could feed the government and the European Commission with really good recommendation and quality ones. So that's an important, you mentioned the labor standards, the inspection and so on. For instance, in Balkans we have a lot of discussions about these issues, and always we work with somebody from ILO or two. So always we could find, resources in order to have quality recommendations for our stakeholders in our work. Thank you.
If you would allow me, once again, I would like to underline the uniqueness of SEPA. And this uniqueness very much is related to the existence of this very body that we are now attending, the inaugural session, that unlike many other bilateral documents that Armenia has or many other countries have, which is purely the responsibility of the governments to implement, SEPA gave this very unique opportunity to this platform to be as an additional body of monitoring and recommendations. So that's why this is the role. I mean, you are raising many issues, important issues for business community, for labor community, for many. So this is exactly why this provision was in the SEPA agreement itself. So and this is the purpose for you to gather together to discuss with your European partners, who will give you expertise and their support in formulating and coming up to the Armenian government, and not only to the Armenian government, but to the institutional bodies like Partnership Council, Partnership Committee, and Parliamentary Partnership Committee, where you can come up with your recommendations, where you can prioritize and provide your priorities, how you see that Armenian government and European Union have to implement the SEPA, and I salute your support, your recommendation that we might that Armenian platform can use the offer and come up with very well formalized recommendation, or even non-papers that could support and even though foreign ministry is not responsible for the implementation. We are only responsible for the political part, and the huge part, which is the sectoral section, is the government itself and headed by the Deputy Prime Minister's office, who's overseeing the implementation. But those recommendations would really be very, very helpful. And once again, I encourage you to use this platform and to use these opportunities that this interaction is creating to formulate your recommendations, your proposals, and as well as I want to underline that do not also forget that you have also monitoring functions, which is also important. So
thank you very much, and I would like to say that we are really keen on having a very good and effective dialogue with the government. We were even very proactive and reached out to Deputy Prime Minister's office and tried to set up a meeting with him and the Deputy Ministers to discuss, to get to know the focal points for SEPA implementation within the government. But unfortunately, we weren't very successful during this summer break. But I hope that once things get more active and moving with the beginning of autumn, we will be more successful. And yes.
Just these technical some issues remind me that our government also can somehow empower this platform, EU Armenia, not only from EU side but also from Armenian government side. We need this support. Especially there is a Rule 6 about secretariat, which should be provided by the Armenian side. As I understand, this Armenian side means also government, yes, or not only civil society. But in any case, government can make its input, I think.
The first input is to listen.
It's a proposal, but please do understand us correctly that the part of the creation of the very fact of the creation of this forum was to leave this to you, not to have any government involvement. This is you, civil society, professional unions that are not that doesn't have any umbrella. I mean, whenever you need support. For example, there was a letter signed by UNU to the government to help with some premises. I mean, these kind of things we can do. But above that, especially as far as the operations of the civil society or of this very forum is concerned, please leave the government on one side and on.
Sure. We don't need umbrella and protection. We need just collaboration and sometimes support.
Yeah, the collaboration, the only way that government could collaborate based on the very letter and spirit of the agreement, that you convene the meetings, you come up with the proposals, with the recommendations to the cooperation committee, cooperation council and partnership council and partnership committee, and especially those institutions are not one-sided. It's not only the government of Armenia. This is two-sided. Whenever you approach us, it doesn't mean that only Armenian government. It means that you approach both the European Commission, European Union, and Armenian government. So I think this is already kind of sound enough to raise your voice and to let us know what are the priorities that you consider. Not only you here in Armenia, but the European side also considers the priority, and that government and our both governments will take it into consideration.
Thank you very much. Anything else?
Just one small remark that the contribution from the civil society is not going to be from scratch. I mean, there is already quite significant amount of ready-to-go proposals and suggestions on various aspects of the reform that can be addressed. And we perceive this platform as another and more effective channel of communication to address what we already have, and also as a channel for internal communication to develop on the basis of what we have some new proposals. So in that respect, what Mr. Markarian proposed in terms of submitting papers, non-papers, and other types of papers will be active, I think, quite soon, and we will start to bombard you with different kind of suggestions and proposals. Thank you.
This is the inaugural meeting, that's why we're smiling a bit too much. Mr. Pleshinger, please.
Mr. Hovhannisyan basically mentioned what I wanted to mention, but just on very, very specific issue, I would like to come back to what Anna Barikian mentioned. For example, this, I don't have a clear answer to that, but the issue of safety and health that should have been on the program of Partnership Council and hasn't been yet. So exactly this is a topic that the platform is good for. You can raise this issue with the government, with us, and make it happen. So thank you for that question.
Thank you. And if our counterparts from EU, EEAS, and DG NEAR want to make last interventions, you have the opportunity to do so now.
Thank you very much. Yes. I just wanted to say a few words. Thank you for this meeting. It showed already that there are some issues that you are very keen to work on. There were some concrete examples of the issues that civil society would like to pick up, and we are looking forward to receiving your recommendations and to our further dialogue beyond this inaugural meeting. So thanks a lot for having us with you in Yerevan, even via links, virtual links. Thank you.
Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you in Brussels or in Yerevan next time. Jeroen?
Yeah, I will be short, as I may have been slightly long in my initial intervention. Also from my side, thanks a lot. It's great to hear. By the way, I had not heard everything because I think we had some small IT connection issue, but it's very clear already from what we heard today. There's quite some rich interventions and sectors that are together represented in this committee. I would like to just give you an important advice as you move forward and start to really work in earnest on monitoring CIPA. I think it's very important and critical that you do point the fingers where things go right, but also point the fingers where things go wrong. But don't stop there. Also indicate what things could be done differently and provide concrete and operational recommendations. I think that's the best way to make this platform into something that can truly become a partnership between government, civil society, social partners, as well as the EU. So good luck with that, and look forward to meet you all.
Thank you very much, and we also look forward to meeting you soon. And if there is nothing else to be said at this point, I have the pleasure of inviting everyone to a cup of coffee, which will be served next door, and our colleagues from Brussels can join us in the spirit. Yeah, and we will come back at 3:30 to work on the second part of our meeting, our rules of procedures and other internal matters. Thank you very much.